Hey guys, Ivan here, and in today's video we got the prejudging of the Tampa Pro Open class, and I think it's pretty obvious. As we all expected, Nick Walker is winning this show. He brought something absolutely out of this world to this show, a crazy package. As you can see right here, he was shredded, big, full, very similar look to his Arnold Classic look, but with one big difference. His midsection actually looked really freaking tight. I was so amazed. His physique actually looked so much better with his midsection being controlled like this. His stomach looking as tight as it did. But other than that, he was also blasting full, really big, really round. As you can see right here, he looked super big. Those delts, man, those arms as well, the chest, even legs, everything looked really big, really full. Nick brought it. That's for sure. But I don't think anybody doubted that because he was very transparent with his physique updates. He was giving us his entire prep basically on his Instagram. We could see how his conditioning is progressing, and yeah, he was shredded here. Look at the depth of the separation in his quads. Very deep, and everything else really was diced. He was shredded, he was spot on, also really big and full. I'm curious to hear what his weight is at this show. How heavy was he really? But conditioning was spot on. His back looked significantly improved. This back double bicep never looked this impressive. Back lat spread as well. So he definitely made some improvements from the Arnold Classic. Why wouldn't he? This guy just keeps growing every time he does a short off season even. So after the Arnold Classic, he was really focused on improving his physique, and he did that. Now midsection, it's never going to look super aesthetic. It's not going to look nice, but it was controlled. He never let it out. He never let it hang, and that's a huge plus, especially for somebody like Nick Walker. So yes, he absolutely brought it. How am I so sure that he is going to win this show? Well, based on the way the judges were placing these guys, I mean, it's no spoiler, really. We all kind of knew that Nick was going to win this show. So, yeah, it's a pretty clear win. And when he first walked on the stage, guys, that first moment in the groups, before the actual comparisons, when he just stepped on the stage there and he hit his front relaxed and the front double, he was actually a little bit over the line, so he looked bigger than everybody else, but still, with his shape and everything, I was like, man, this Nick, with this size, with this shape, with his stomach, with his waist, actually looking small. Next to Joe Pelash's here, his waist actually looked small. So with his waist like this, with his shape this way, with his conditioning that he brought, I was like, he's gonna win the Mr. Olympia looking like this, right? Don't you have the same opinion? I mean, the other guys are also pretty good in this show, but there are leagues, levels between him and everybody else. At least that's what it seemed like in the groups, in the comparisons. In my opinion, it didn't look that good. I mean, Nick didn't look like he's gonna annihilate the Mr. Olympia. He was still relatively comparable to these top guys in this show. So let's take a look at that. This was the initial first call out. As you can see, you had James and Nick in the center. Charles Griffin, who made his comeback, was on the side, as well as Patrick Moore. And Joe Pilacius actually was not in the center at the beginning. And I was like, wow, is Joe gonna be fourth or fifth or sixth at his show? I was like, no way. He's too big to place that low. I didn't see Charles Griffin beating him, even though Charles is definitely shredded. And Joe, in my opinion, basically failed with conditioning. Now, I wouldn't say that this is a fail necessarily. I would say that he probably went for size and fullness, because him and his coach probably realized they're going after the biggest guy in the IFBB, so they're gonna have to be big. Joe needs to be massive, and they probably went with fullness for this show. But I don't think it played out, because even if they went with slightly better condition, Joe would still look massive. You know, he was enormous in this show. He was huge. He matched Nick in so many poses. But really, what's going to cost him the win here? I mean, he's not close to winning this show, but what is the issue here next to somebody like Nick Walker, who is a top-level bodybuilder, a top echelon of a bodybuilder? It's simply the structure. It's the shape, especially from the front. I mean, only from the front, really. Like the waist size from the front, from the back too, but really mainly from the front. The way his waist is, the way his legs are shaped. He just doesn't have that shape, like the top guys. But also the problem was the conditioning. He didn't nail the conditioning for this show. If he was a little bit sharper and drier, man, he would definitely look so much better. No, I'm not saying that he would win the show. He would not win this show. There is no way of him beating Nick Walker. Not yet. Maybe in a couple of years. Right now, no. But still, being in the first call out right here, and actually they moved these guys around later, so he ended up in the center right there with Nick Walker. They moved James outside, so James and Joe were fighting for that second. And as far as anybody else challenging Nick here, I didn't see that as a possibility. I mean, when they started hitting the post in the first call out, I thought maybe James can actually push Nick in some of the shots from the front, but from the back, no way, no chance. And yes, I would definitely have to say that Joe looked phenomenal against Nick Walker, even in the side pose, especially the side chest. That side chest of Joe Palacios is one of the best in the world right now. Definitely one of the best. So he definitely has a crazy side chest, and from the back, Joe has an amazing back, really great back, but something went wrong with that back in the last year that the left side of his back atrophied. It was like that last year, but it wasn't this apparent. So that's definitely hurting him. It's hurting his symmetry. Is it terrible? No. Is it noticeable? Yeah. I'm noticing it big time. So even if he was the size of Nick Walker, maybe he actually is, because here, Nick is definitely standing behind the line. So he's definitely out-angling Joe. But if they were one next to another, I think the size would be comparable, which you're going to see in the very last call out. So before the last call out, we had this second call out. So they dropped Charles Griffin, Patrick Moore in that second call out. Ken and Colossus Ken ended up in the second call out. And there is this guy. Honestly, I don't know his name. I'm trying to make this video as soon as possible, so there isn't enough time to research his name. I'm going to find out for the finals. I'll let you know, guys. But this was your second call out right here. Who is winning this one? Well, as you can see, based on the way they're moving them, Charles Griffin and this new guy, who I don't know his name, are in the center. So, yeah, I would say that Charles Griffin is probably winning it. Colossus Ken, big failure here with the condition. He spoke about this on Fuad's podcast. His idea was not to get over dieted and still bring good condition, but also mainly his fullness and size. He was probably playing the size game going against Nick Walker and Joe Palacios, but he just came in super soft, fat and watery. So no, definitely wasn't the right strategy to go with this look. It looked pretty bad. If he was in better shape, he would beat all of these guys right here in the second call out. Maybe there would be a top 4 call out if he was in good condition. So he is very good, but yeah, the conditioning was just terrible. Now, as I told you guys, in the first call out, we're going to have the top 3 guys, Nick Walker, Joe Palacios, and James Hollins. Now, before this show, I wasn't sure who was going to play second. At first, I thought it's going to be Joe. Everybody thought that. But then after we saw what James looked like the China Pro, where he deserved to win that show, I thought he was going to be second. I think I said that. If not on this channel, I said it on my Serbian podcast for sure. So, yeah, I expected James to be second. But he's in the top 3 right here. In my opinion, based on the prejudging, I think James is going to be second place here. And no, he's not going to qualify for the Mr. Olympia by placing second here. So I don't know what his motivation was doing this show. He probably knew there is no chance for him to win this show. The next week we have Texas. So maybe it would be smarter for him to wait and pick perfectly for Texas. But he wanted to do this show, I'm assuming, because he wanted the experience and also to stand next to Nick Walker and maybe beat him in some shots, or at least look comparable to Nick in some shots, because Nick is one of the best bodybuilders of today's era. So let's take a look at this. Is there a chance of anybody here pushing Nick? In my opinion, guys, no, there absolutely is not. But my initial thought when I saw Nick in the groups, I was like, this guy's going to win the Mr. Olympia with his waist. But even though his waist was much better here, you can still see that his structure is not that great. James actually has a better structure than Nick, but he doesn't have a chance of beating Nick because of the back. He's too narrow from the back. Nick is super big and super wide. Conditioning-wise, they're pretty close. Joe is a little bit behind with the condition, but not too far behind. He's also pretty lean. I mean, he's shredded for sure. Joe has a lot of size. I would say he's almost matching Nick with size. He is actually really freaking massive. But again, it's a structure issue. So, yeah, I mean, be my guest. You tell me, who do you have winning here? Based on the first call out, they actually left Joe out of the center of the call out. So based on that, it's probably James who is placing second here. But then they brought Joe back, and maybe the other judges judge that way. But I just don't see Joe placing second here because of the structure from the front. You know, he doesn't have greatest conditioning. James is definitely more conditioned, but Joe has a lot of size, especially from the back and from the side. So he's beating James in that regard. But from the front, the way his quads are shaped and the way his waist is like, how wide it is, I just don't see him placing second in this show. So I think Joe is going to be in third. I think James is going to play second. And yeah, I think Nick Walker is winning this one without a doubt. But hey, whatever you guys think, tell me down below in the comment section, do you agree with me? I mean, I'm sure you agree with me with the fact that Nick Walker is winning this show. I don't think that's really a question, but what do you think about the second and the third place? That's what I was focusing really on at this show at. Maybe trying to figure out whether Nick's waist is improved enough and or his overall physique to potentially challenge for the Olympia title. And then also I was trying to compare Joe and James to see who's going to play second. I wasn't really paid that much attention to Nick because he's really not that relevant in this show. He's going to walk away with this win pretty easy. It's all about right now for me whether who takes the second spot. I think right now it's going to be James, but it's very close. You might pick Joe as well. He does have massive back, and he's looking crazy big from the side. But I think those shots are more comparable. Like, James is closer to Joe from behind, from the side, than Joe is to James from the front. And there are 4 poses from the front and 2 poses from the side and 2 poses from the back. So it's pretty equal. You know, it's hard to figure out who's going to win this one, but it's close. You guys tell me, what do you think down below in the comments. See you soon, guys. All the best, and bye-bye.